Okay.
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 So I'd like to welcome everybody here, and I'm going to try to go down. I've been trying to write down names, but I know I'm going to miss somebody because I think we've got 20 on, which is fantastic. It varies a lot from month to month and depending on what day it is and so forth. So I'm Scott, and you guys know me. I'm in Oregon. And Bonnie?
I'm Bonnie in Oregon.
And Barbara, you're going to have the show in a minute, but tell them where you're from.
I'm Barbara from Tennessee.
And I got Linda H.
Linda, Mississippi.
Linda Hender from Mississippi, and Ann Egan.
And then
From McMinnville, Oregon.
Okay, and I got Emily Gordon. You can tell them where you're from.
I'm from Tennessee.
Okay, Judy Jones.
She's muted.
Oh, well, she's from Kentucky. She's our national secretary at headquarters. And Linda Nyseth
From Amity, Oregon.
and Cynthia Gibson.
Hi, I'm from Prospect, Oregon.
Okay, and Faye Spencer
Faye Spencer from Salina, Kansas.
and Thelma.
Hello, Hawaii.
See, we get all the way to Hawaii. And I got it, Gianni, or I can't, the names are getting kind of small there. Okay, how about Maria?
Is it Marcia?
Marcia. Okay. And where are you from, Marcia?
Oregon.
Good deal. Oh, Marcia. And Joanna. Oh, she's working on that right there. Okay. And Tony.
I'm from Oregon.
Okay, who did I miss?
Helen Doman from Rockville, Maryland.
Well, welcome.
Carolyn Rendorf from Portland.
Portland, Oregon. Okay, who else we got?
Debbie Jennings from Tennessee.
Thank you. Who else?
And Joe?
Dolores Walden, Kansas.
Okay, and who else we got?
I'm signed in as Linda, Linda Hess from Kansas.
Okay, anybody else I miss?
Yeah, you missed Joe Ellen Allman.
Joe,
Indiana.
Joe Ellen? Where's Joe Ellen from, Bonnie?
She told you Indiana.
Oh, I just didn't hear. All right, is there anybody else I missed? Well, welcome. And I'm glad everybody's here. I got a big full screen here. That's fantastic. So I'm going to introduce Barbara Brown. Barbara Brown has agreed to do this, and I'm going to let her kind of introduce her own little going to be about, and I'm just excited that she's doing it. I'm always looking for someone to be a presenter, and as you can see, it can be anywhere in the world. So Barbara, I'm going to turn the time over to you. I'm going to actually go ahead and spotlight you also.
Okay. You take care of all that, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
All right.
Oh, hi. Oh, wait, let me turn that on. Wait a minute.
Big for everybody.
Hi. Scott has introduced me as Barbara Brown, and that was my name for over 50 years. And I will tell you that actually my last name is now Beeman, coming up on 10 years at the end of this month. So it's okay, whatever you call me, but I'm glad to be here. And one of the things that I bring to the table, I'm not about nutrition, and I'm old, and I don't want to spend a lot of time cooking, but I want stuff to taste good. So I've learned that almost anything you cook can be cooked in a skillet. And I have a recipe that Scott will share with you later on for chicken Alfredo, but it's meant to be cooked in the oven. Well, do you know what? By the time you get it all mixed up, it's going to be done and you don't have to do that. And so I'm going to start right now. And since you're going to have pasta, this is very exact measurement. Watch this. Put about a cup of water in my skillet, and I'm going to add some, call it chicken base. It can also, it's called better than bouillon, but give a little flavor to our spaghetti or whatever I'm going to put in here. You can use spaghetti noodles, you can use linguine, you can use any kind of noodles you want. The other thing is you can also buy pre-cooked. And the recipe calls for 12 ounces of pasta. These are 7 ounces, so you can take 2 of those. And it also has some olive oil with other stuff in it that you may or may not want. But anyway, there's just possibilities. I'm using a hot plate because anything you put on there will work if it has a magnet will stick to it. And I got this because we have an RV, our motorhome. And by the way, we were out in Oregon a couple of years ago. But I have a gas stove and I'm not a fan of gas. And so my husband bought me this hot plate. And so this year we've used it. I like hot tea. So it took forever for me to get a little teapot full of water hot enough to make a cup of tea. And so I have a little hot pot of my own that's electric. It's done in less than a minute. And I like that. And so now that I've got this wonderful hot plate and it works. I just put it on top of I got something on top of the gas stove and I just cook on this and it gets done very quickly. It is taking just a moment to get hot, but because what you can do is anything you've got on hand. I already have the spaghetti on hand, so that's what I'm using. I didn't buy anything extra to make the recipe. And my water is beginning to boil, so I'll just, this is a 16-ounce package. I won't use all of it, but cooking is such an exact science. Sometimes if you're baking, you do have to use an exact recipe. Well, most of the stuff we cook, it doesn't really need that. I'll just let that cook a minute. We'll talk about the recipe. The one thing that I can't do, my tablecloth is clean, by the way. The original recipe called for using a sleeve of Ritz crackers and like a couple of tablespoons of butter. You crush them up into the butter and put them on top before you cooked it. When it occurs to me, I figured out a way if you really wanted to, you could go and crush your crackers and put the butter in them or whatever. And if you've got a toaster oven, you could toast them up and then put them on top of your dish when you're finished. But a really good bread will take all you need for that. This is getting pretty soft, and when it gets a little bit more, maybe I should turn up my, let's see. And the only reason that I start out with the water with the chicken base, and that you can get that at the store. This brand is called Better Than Bouillon, and it's in a more of a paste form. It has more flavor, and you can control the amount a little bit better. My noodles are getting soft, so they're just about ready. So. My husband asked me what we were having for dinner. Well, now he knows, but generally speaking, I just go with whatever I have. In the refrigerator, like last week, I had been to the market. I made what I call skillet ratatouille, which is just a way of putting, I like the skinny eggplant, and eggplant and squash and zucchini, onions, which I started onions with just a little bit of oil, and then put in the veggies sliced, and then added some little sweet peppers, some mushrooms, and maybe some tomatoes in it. And then I realized, I forgot about the meat, but we had some cheese. When I put it on the plate and just laid the cheese on top of it, it melted in there. It was absolutely exquisite. It was a Monterey Jack with caramelized onions in it, made by Boar's Head. And I'm not big on paying full price for things, so it had been reduced a little bit. Otherwise, I paid like $4 and something. It would have been about $10 a pound if I bought the whole thing at the regular price. Okay, so this is just about ready. It calls for 16 ounces of sour cream, but that's not it. Somebody should have opened this up before she got started.
I'm sure somebody can give comments or questions if you're,
Oh, yes, you can talk to me.
So you're using just a fry pan skillet type thing?
Yes, just a regular skillet. This is about a 10-inch, I guess. And I like to use sour cream. That's the real thing, you know, not, if you read labels, you just maybe not want to get something sometime, but I like to get the stuff that's just, has the least amount of other stuff in it as possible. I think I was probably supposed to put in my Alfredo sauce next, but you know, it's not going to make that much difference. Except again, I didn't open it first.
remember, like I told you yesterday, we're all amateurs just trying to be professionals.
Well, you know, when you're at home, you just start doing things, you don't really think about it. But also, the original recipe called for a brand, but like I said, I like to read the labels, and this has fewer ingredients. It happens to be made by Private Selection, which is a Kroger brand, which I know is out west. It's just not called Kroger. But I've been out, and when you walk in the store, you know it's the same store. My hot plate, I can control the temperature with it. Now to get things going, I have it on 400. And if you're really careful, I guess you could mix up the Alfredo and the sour cream at the same time, but that's just dirtying up something else that I'm not going to wash. Need a little garlic, so I'm going to add minced garlic, but you can get at your store, whatever it is. Measure it very accurately, please. Now, the original recipe also called for canned peas. Now, I don't know about y'all, but canned peas are just not very attractive. Some people get messy too. So I use frozen peas. And the nice thing, since I brought this stuff over here where I was doing my room yesterday, they'll be frosted. But even if they weren't, it would still work.
Well, it is because I couldn't get it shut off, but I couldn't get the picture on that one. If you can open it and figure out how to turn it off, but I couldn't figure it out.
Can you see how, I don't know if you can see how pretty those green peas look against this white background.
Beautiful.
Now, if you use canned peas, you wouldn't have that pretty stuff, that pretty contrast. Supposed to be shredded Parmesan, but have you ever noticed that when you buy shredded cheese, there's got a lot of other stuff in it? Well, I'm not into that other stuff. And I thought I had some that's already shredded, but like I said, I'm not going back to the grocery. This is some shaved Parmesan, but it's just Parmesan cheese, and you can make that smaller, but you know what? It's awfully good. And as you can see, I'm measuring it very carefully too. It's hard to get too much cheese, right? Wouldn't you like to bite into a nice big chunk of Parmesan instead of just that? And I've learned to, I was a widow for 2.5 years. I was at Sam's, y'all probably have Sam's or BJ's or Costco or something. And they gave a sample of Parmigiano Reggiano about that big, you know, about the size of a pea actually. And I thought, you know what? It's just me. I'm not going to eat a whole lot at a time. By the way, I can have some real Parmesan cheese. So I did that. Now, as you can, I think I've got everything I have in here. So there it is. Oh, no, I don't have any chicken in here, do I? Okay. Now then. I bought a rotisserie or baked chicken at the grocery store. Again, it had been reduced. And generally speaking, you know, they're just trying to get, I can tell you how my grocery store works. If you got milk, what are you going to do? You're going to reach into the back to get the freshest milk, aren't you? So what I have known them to do is they will reduce the ones that still have a week left on the sell-by date, but because they know you're going to reach in the back. But if they have ones up front that are reduced, maybe you'll buy those instead of reaching to the back. So it's the same thing with anything. If they cooked it in the deli or whatever, you got the chicken, then you know, you don't have to cook it. I like it better when I don't have to take it off the bone, but our animals enjoy when I take off the bones and things. So and the other thing, I'll give you a hint about freezing. If I have a bunch of food, it's just my husband and me. So we don't, this will make 2 meals for us. It's 4 very generous servings. And when I'm freezing, like meat in portions, I found that about 6 ounces of meat is generally enough for us. You can do, and so what I will do is I'll put 6 ounces in a snack bag, just a little snack bag, and maybe 3 of those will fit into a freezer bag, a quart freezer bag. So you can freeze them that way, and then when you need you just reach in and get what you want. And so that's my other little hint for today. And I have done that with like pulled pork. My grandson his church has a fundraiser and they'll have a smoked butt. But when I get it home, it's still warm. I take all the fat out, all the bone out, and I take the meat and I put it in these little individual things. And so like when we're traveling or something, it's so nice. I just reach in and I know that that's enough meat for 1 meal for us. So take that for what it's worth. Now then, I think I'm gonna put some more cheese in there. But I guess this is everything that's supposed to be in there because I don't see anything else I've got here. So that must be.
Well, you haven't got much room left in there either.
Huh?
You haven't got much room left in that pan.
I'm sorry?
You haven't got much room left in the pan.
Oh, no, there isn't. And I probably could have used a little bit bigger skillet. It's just not as pretty as this one. You know, this one's kind of copper looking. And, but you see, I didn't cook the noodles. I don't know if you can see, the noodles are soft. I could have probably put more in there, but if I had, it might not have fit in the skillet. But basically, you just take any recipe you've got, and this is, you know, in the time it took to mix it, it's ready to eat. You do not have to then put it in the oven for 30 minutes or let it finish the flavors melding together. So as you see, I got dinner cooked for tonight and another night as well. So I'm going to turn this off. Once I figure out, nope, that's not it. Oh, there it is, clear. It helps when you read the instructions. But as you see, I have it now. Do you have any questions?
I do. I missed the first 15 minutes. So what was you making?
Okay, I'm making chicken Alfredo. It's from a recipe that I got online that's supposed to be put in the oven. But I have found that, like I said, you can do anything in a skillet that you can do in the oven, just about. So I'm all about cooking quickly. And you can see, I don't know how long it took me to do it because I don't have on my watch. But I have a meal ready right now that if we were home, we could just sit down and eat. And how long have I been doing this now, Scott? What time is it since I started?
About 18 minutes or so. I don't know, since you actually started, maybe a little bit less, maybe 15 minutes.
Okay. All right, say in 15 or 20 minutes, I have put together this meal. It is very nutritional. It has your meat. It's got your veggies and it's got your bread. And I mean, it has everything you need, and dairy is everything you need. If you have any particular dietary needs, you can rearrange things. But right there in this amount of time, I have a meal ready. Now I did have to gather the stuff to put it, but in 30 minutes, and the original recipe, by the time you put this together, I know you were supposed to mix the sour cream and the Alfredo sauce together and then put it in there and they're all mixed up good. But you can be stirring the whole time and you have a meal ready to eat and be good. I probably should, like I said, put a little bit more noodles in there, but that's okay too. It really doesn't matter. So any other questions?
Barbara, this is Emily. Are you
Hi.
hearing me? Yes. Yeah, I like very much. Thank you. Thank you. I like the idea of freezing that you had with the snack bags and the bigger one. That's it. I'll try that.
Yeah, well, you can buy bags that are made for that, but why spend the extra money on it? And you can determine, it doesn't matter what it is that you might be freezing. Maybe you have a big package of ground beef now. For instance, my husband now has non-alcoholic cirrhosis of the liver, so he's not supposed to have red meat. So I have found that ground pork is a wonderful substitute. A lot of people use ground turkey or something like that. So if, it doesn't come in a little package. So if I'm not going to use it all at once, making chili or something like that, then I will freeze that in the little packages so that I know how much and almost anything you think of, and like the chicken, and especially if if you were cooking just for yourself, you could buy a whole chicken, maybe already cooked, the rotisserie chicken or something. And I just don't like taking it off the bone, to tell you the truth. But you could put, your pieces, them out in each serving in those the little snack bags, and then you've got it made. Just take out what you need.
Do you use the crock pot any?
No. If you do a crock pot, that means you got to, what did I say about time? Now, if I'm bringing something to church or something like that, it's supposed to be like chili, well, I can do that. But I will tell you that my chili, you might be surprised, is different from most people's, because I put a lot of cumin in mine instead of a lot of hot stuff. So it has a lot of flavor, but not a lot of heat. That's just what I like. So I buy cumin in a great big container, and I add a little smoked paprika, a little cayenne, but just enough to kind of jazz it up without being hot. Any other questions? Well, I can tell you with my nice little portable hot plate, I can go anywhere and do my show.
Well, thank you very much, Barbara. Anybody else got questions or comments? I just want to know if can you share it on via Zoom?
What? Oh, to eat?
Yeah.
No, but I can stick my finger in it.
I can't even smell it.
I can tell you that it's right tasty. Now, I will not put my finger back in there since it's been in my mouth. But my hands were clean before I started this little thing. And what I just realized as I look around, I did not bring anything in which to put this on my way home. So I shall have to go to the church kitchen and try to find something. I don't have room in my kitchen to do this sort of thing where I could show you all. So I thought, well, I could do it. And I do not recommend that you promise to do a Zoom at noon when you are teaching a class at 10 and then, you got to visit and clean up and whatever you.
Miss Barbara.
Uh-huh.
Hi, thank you so much for, I plan to make it very, very soon. It looks yummy. Thank you so much.
It is, and it really is hard to mess it up. And you can use any kind of pasta you want. I really wanted to try it with linguine, but I'd had to pick it up at the grocery store and I already had the spaghetti noodles. And I had some rotini, but I'd rather have it with the spaghetti than that. So it's hard to mess up, as you can see.
And Barbara, I did get that recipe, so I can open it on my phone, so I'll figure out how to get it there.
Well, did I leave anything out?
No, I don't know. I didn't check. I didn't go through and check on that. Okay. I will have that on the website link where I record this, and that's on the Oregon FCE website, and it's Oregon dash, and it's a dash between it, not a space, FCE.org. And then you need to go to the Zoom lesson page.
Okay.
think I put that on the invitation I send out where you can find all those. If you guys got the invitation, it's on that link's on there also.
I had a question. I haven't used a hot plate before. Do you have recommendations of what features should be on a hot plate to make it easy?
Well, I will tell you about me. The Lord looks after me and I just get what I need and don't know it. This one happens to be New Wave is the name of this one, NUWAVE. And whatever you put on it has to be magnetic. I mean, you have to, like, I checked some of my other skillets, magnet wouldn't stick to them, so they won't work on here. And if you've got it on and you take the thing off, the heat stops. And I had it on and I can touch around the edge. That's a little hot still in the middle, but around the edge, I can still touch it. So I think that's a good safety feature. This is a precision induction cooktop. How about that? But, you know, you can time it. You can decide, you know, how hot it's going to be and has everything you need. And I like smooth top cooking anyway, so this suited me just fine. So if you really want to know anything, I'm not much help. I do know he got it on Amazon, so he was looking out for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, Barbara, when I make the chicken Alfredo, I often use the bow tie noodles, and we like that.
Oh, I'm sure that would be good. It's like I said, it's what I had in handy. And it doesn't really matter. And if you're actually cooking them like you would in this, you might need a little bit more water. I don't know. The spaghetti noodles are so skinny, they don't need a lot of water. So, and you can add pepper to this. I forgot to bring any pepper. But by the time you use this, anything in a jar, it's got salt in it. And of course, the bouillon stuff has salt in it. So you really don't need to add any salt unless you're just an absolute salt freak. I think less is better. So like I said, I do realize that the recipe says you can put some pepper in it, but I didn't. So, but you know, there's a pepper shaker on the table. Actually, it's a little grinder. So
and
whatever you like, if there's some other seasoning you'd really like, you can add that to it. It's just something very simple, and you can throw it together, as you can see, in Nothing Flat.
And because of the amount of water you used, you didn't have to drain it then either, did you?
Smart woman, absolutely. I mean, why should you get out another pot to cook the spaghetti when you can do it in this one? And if you don't put too much, then it's going to evaporate. If there's just a little bit left over, it's not going to matter anyway. So you made a good point. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? This is your chance to ask the expert.
Okay, when's our next cooking class?
Well, if you want one from me, you'll have to tell me what you'd like, and I'll see if I'll do it.
Okay.
What do you usually do different? You have
What?
a different recipe?
What?
A different recipe?
Oh yeah, I could, if there's something particular. Usually it's just whatever's in the refrigerator. And you know, I've learned that, for instance, one of the things you can buy at the grocery now is broccoli slaw. You can use that to make actual slaw, or you know, you can dump it in something like this too. And it won't take long to cook because it's, you know, small pieces.
Bonnie and I buy a lot of the broccoli slaw and use it for everything. Bonnie makes stone soup every once in a while.
Well, basically that's what it is.
Well, that's where you put everything in the pot that doesn't in the refrigerator that you can. Something.
Well, see, and that's kind of the way I cook, Scott, anyway. And I just knew, you know, this is one that that is just too much bother. And so I just,
looks really good.
well, when I stuck my finger, it tasted pretty good too, but I will not, I'll have to go find something to put in it. But I do have some empty containers I can put it in.
Next time I come through Tennessee, I'll stop and get some.
Well, you better let me know.
I did drive one end of the state to the other here just recently.
You did?
Yeah. Back in June.
Oh, yeah, after
Right.
conference or before.
Yeah, before the next conference. Okay, if anybody else has any other questions or comments, I'm going to actually stop the recording. And if you guys want to chat or anything like that, you can even talk about Scott if you want to, but I'm going to stop the recording, and I appreciate you guys all coming. And if anybody like to